Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. As always, it's great to have you back. Here's a quick summary of the goals of EQ Video Tip before we get into this week's great tip. Welcome back. Do you hear that? It's actually the sound of silence, and the sound of silence can be very, very powerful, and it's a great technique to use in terms of strengthening your overall EQ. And don't underestimate the power of silence. This article is written by Vijay Eswaran, and Vijay talks about how the power of silence can be such a great factor in boosting our EQ. It can boost productivity, it can help calm you, combat stress. And if you practice it for 21 days for an hour every day, you'll see immediate changes in the insights that you're gaining of the world around you and in terms of acquiring a greater sense of balance in your life. So how do we do that? How should we spend that hour? And if you don't have an hour, that's okay as well, because we can consolidate this into a smaller amount of time to begin with as well. So let's jump into Vijay's techniques on how to use the power of silence. Tip number 1, we want you to spend 60 minutes in silence. Now, not everybody has 60 minutes, so maybe it's going to be 30, maybe it's going to be 20, but this is how you should break up those 30, 60, 45, 20 minutes, whatever it is. The first 30 minutes, and I'll use an hour just as a way to measure it so you know what we're talking about. Spend the first 30 minutes goal setting. 10 of those minutes should be talking about your short term, writing this down, your long term and your medium term goals. Very important to understand those different things. The next 10 minutes of the first 30 should be assessing the progress that you have on those goals, looking at them, figuring out what you want to do, where you are, and then the last 10 minutes should be taking note of any unmet goals from the past, why you didn't accomplish them, and assess the reasons behind it so you understand where you are deficient as well. Remember, we're doing this all in silence. We'll get to the next tip on this right after this. Tip number 2, learn and grow. And it's really important to do this. For 20 minutes, you need to read a book and write down what you learned. So spend about 10 to 15 minutes of that time reading something new, teaching yourself something, enriching yourself that will take your mind and move it away from what you do on a normal daily basis. Maybe it's a new hobby, a new cooking thing that you want to try out. Whatever it is, something that's going to enrich your day and motivate it with new techniques, something different than your normal daily routine. After you've done reading for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, write down what you learned so you absorb it and you're enriching your brain, enriching your mind, and giving it motivation that there's other things out there in your world. This 20 minutes will really help you out in terms of learning, growing, and being curious and enriching your mind. Our last tip, tip number 3, 10 minutes of mindfulness. And this one is actually really important. Whether you're a spiritual person, you believe in a higher power, whatever it is, take 10 minutes to just meditate if you want, or just be calm and listen to silence. It's important to self-reflect during this time. Pay attention to the way you're feeling, the way your body feels, both emotionally and physically. All these things will give you an opportunity to calm yourself, get yourself centered for the day. If you have anger or you're stressed, it will allow your brain to calm down as well. And it gives you a chance to breathe and really give yourself an opportunity to think through the situations that are going through the day. It'll also make yourself more insightful as to what you're dealing with and make you more attuned to your own feelings, which in the end gives you a higher level of EQ and gives you more insight into what people are feeling and you're feeling as well. So take the last 10 minutes of that 60 for mindfulness. That concludes this week's EQ video tip. Again, Vijay gave us some great ideas for the power of silence. Now, not everybody has 1 hour that they can dedicate every day to it, but if you can even take 20 or 15 or even 10 minutes to use silence to your advantage, it will help you grow and become more engaged with your own feelings and your own emotions to help you in terms of your relationship with others and your overall EQ. Here's a quick recap of what VJ taught us today. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.